Welcome to Elevate, where we explore the intersection of leadership, culture, and well-being. Join us as we embark on a journey to empower both individuals and organizations to reach new heights of success and fulfillment. I'm your host, Annette Dowdle, and together, let's elevate the way we work and live. All right, my friends. So today I want to welcome my guest and my friend, Savannah Folse, to come here today and tell us a little bit about herself. She has an extraordinary background as a collegiate athlete, starting businesses at 19 years old, several companies, and has currently 4, and grew them through social media, which is incredible. And you're only 26 years old?
I am. I am.
So tell us about how you have accomplished so much at such a young age.
So it all goes back to my dad, for sure. The way I was raised, he was not only a vocal leader, but he led by example. So watching him quit his corporate job and start his own company at 40 years old, I was at a prime age to actually comprehend the sacrifices and all of the work that goes into starting your own company. So watching him do that has definitely led me into where I am now, for sure.
So would you say your dad is your role model?
100%.
That's cool.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, I feel the same about my dad too.
It's like a built-in best friend, role model, dad. It's like,
yeah,
I couldn't ask for anything better.
Right. So you were the princess.
Yes, for sure. That's what my grandma and my grandpa called me too. So,
Right. Well, that's what we have in common because I was dad's little princess too. I was daddy's little girl.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. So let's talk about some of the critical elements of leadership. Obviously you've been a great leader or you wouldn't be where you are today. So I have a couple questions for you. How do you define effective leadership and what strategies do you use to employ to cultivate it within your company and your team?
Effective leadership.
Or companies, rather.
Companies, yeah.
Yeah.
Team. But effective leadership, it goes down to leading with empathy and leading with love. So whenever you make decisions, always being able to understand that you're leading in the right direction, that's going to be best for your clients and best for your team. And always making sure that you are keeping everyone's best interests in mind anytime you make a decision. Growing up as an athlete and being on a team, I loved that aspect to where you can bounce energy off of each other, you feed off of each other, and just becoming, whether you're a vocal leader, some are better vocally, some are better quiet and lead by example, and some are both. And I've learned to become both in the sense. In the very beginning of being an athlete, I was more of a lead by example and didn't really vocalize. And as I got older and maybe even shifted into like senior year where I felt like I could actually vocally say something and it'd be valuable, those are kind of just like the 3 aspects of becoming a leader, in my opinion, and how you can lead a group of people.
So you're kind of a cheerleader for your employees?
In a sense, yes, but I wouldn't say a cheerleader, but more of a, what's the term
coach?
I could use? More of a coach, but also a friend.
Yeah.
So, and I know like there is a fine line between
we've talked about
friendship
that.
and business.
Yes.
And I 100% learned that the hard way as well.
Right.
But I also value the friendships that we have within our culture and our team because everyone within Next Level, our team is everything that I could have dreamt of for the company that we have.
And I would agree with that. Just walking in your space and feeling that energy, it definitely feels like a team environment. It has this really positive vibe to it. Like it's cool. Like I want to hang out there.
Yeah.
Hang out with
That's
you
like
and
one
your
of the
team.
best compliments we could get to because culture is so important.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So in your experience, what role does a company culture play in promoting employee well-being and their overall success?
At this moment in time and the position that I'm in, I've definitely shifted from being so much in the business to now I am working on the business. So I shifted from being an actual social media manager alongside the team into CEO and managing the team. And so whenever I shifted into that CEO role, I was able to really, really focus on culture. And that is what I really love truly with my whole heart, is building the culture, making sure the culture's there, making sure that we're all working together seamlessly and fluidly. And again, we have a friendship line and we do have a business line. So I remember our first meeting that we had as a team. We went over a PowerPoint, and one of the things I said is, I love each and every one of you. At the end of the day, we are here to accomplish a goal. And that's what we have to keep in mind. So anytime any type of constructive criticism comes about, know that it's always coming from a good place and that we are all on track to reach the goal that we're all here for. And one of our favorite values is kind candor. We pulled that from Gary Vee. So being able to communicate in a way that can give constructive criticism, but with empathy and love and kindness. So it's, formulating that fluidity and seamlessness within the team.
That's really cool stuff. I love that.
It's something that I've once I again shifted into that CEO role, I had to learn a lot. So I started
quickly
dumping a bunch of podcasts left and right. I'm like, okay, I've led a team in sports, but this is different. Now I have payrolls that I'm taking care of, and this is people's livelihood. And so the responsibility was way more than just leading a softball team,
Right.
So I have learned that I love learning. I thoroughly love learning.
Right.
So once I have something new that I have to start intaking and learning, it's kind of like the motivation is just constantly there.
Right.
To get better.
Right. I love that.
It's fun.
Yes.
It really is fun.
Yes. So I want to ask you, what personal or professional challenge have you had in your past that has molded you as the leader that you are today and given you an opportunity to grow?
So there's a vivid memory that I have when I was 12 years old, and this was probably the most pivotal point in my life.
Right.
I have two pivotal points, but this is definitely the first one. I was pitching. I was, again, 12 years old on travel ball team. My coach walked out. She took the ball out of my glove. She told me I was the worst pitcher she's ever seen to go sit on the bench.
Oh, wow.
I was bawling, crying, of course,
Right.
And so we get in the huddle after the game, and we were going to go to the World Series in Tennessee that summer. And she said, we're not going to the World Series because of Savannah. Canceled the whole World Series.
Oh, wow.
I got in the truck. My dad's, I'm crying. I was like, I quit. I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. And he was like, okay. He was like, you can quit. He said, or you can shove it in her face and go work your ass off to prove her wrong.
There you go.
And I continued to play for her. And my whole softball career, every coach in high school told me I would never play in college. I'm too small to play in college. I would never pitch in college. And I ended up getting a scholarship to Spring Hill and Mobile. And I started my freshman year and proved everyone wrong. So one of the biggest lessons my dad taught me is to not let anybody tell you that you can't do something.
Oh, wow.
And that is where I've gotten the grit to accomplish the goals that are set in front of me, or any type of opportunity that comes my way that I see is valuable and is going to help that end goal. That's the driving force for sure.
And that's why your dad is your role model.
That's
too.
right. Yep.
Right.
100%.
Right. I can identify with that. I have a lot of stories about similar
me.
stories. Yeah. Yeah. We'll save
share
that
one?
for a whole
Okay.
another episode.
Yes. I'm excited for that one.
Yes. So is there anything professional you want to share that you learned from as well?
Yeah. So last year, we lost our biggest client in October, and I was at a point where I was like, I actually have no idea what I'm going to do. So it was me and another full-time employee that I had, and I was like, okay, I'm stuck. So I started looking at numbers and just started looking at everything that we've done previously. And that next month, we ended up signing 10 clients. I can't tell you how or why, but after I signed those 10 clients and November and December hit, I had zero money in my bank account, in my personal bank account, none. I was in the negatives. My credit cards were maxed out. I went to Europe over the summer, had a little fun, and it bit me in the ass in the fall of last year. January hit. I hired another full-time employee. I took a risk and expanded the office space, and still I was living on pennies, pinching pennies. And then in March, at the end of Q1, our numbers were up 106% compared to last year, time frame January to March.
Wow.
We had record-breaking sales, record-breaking client onboardings, record-breaking employee onboardings, and I honestly am in the midst right now of like, okay, what have we done different? And the difference is last year, so our own social media marketing was nothing. We weren't even posting on Next Level Marketing's page because we were kind of just coasting. We were good with what we had, and I wasn't really trying to scale. January of 2024, we set up a marketing strategy on social media, and that is the only answer that I can give you as to why we grew the way that we did. We posted consistently on Facebook and Instagram, those only two platforms, and tripled our numbers.
It's crazy.
Raised our numbers by 100%. So that's the only way I can see.
The power of social media.
The power of social media. So in those weary times of like, okay, am I going to continue doing this? Like when you see, you know, and I was going to figure out something. There's a solution and you just, it's going to come to you. And I've learned that there's always a solution and sometimes you just have to release for that solution to come to you.
Right.
So that's probably the two personal and business-wise like obstacles, the most recent one, at least with the marketing company that we've had. And, you know, you're going to go through ups and downs as a business owner. You're not going to have 100% raises every year in increase in revenue or employees or clients. Like it's likely not going to happen that way. But when you're in those low periods, taking the time to step back and figure out like, okay, how do I, one, digest this and then figure out what our next steps are to fix it or prevent it from happening again.
Right.
But yeah, it was, in those low periods, I know that a good is coming at the same time. It sucks. It's not fun. Nobody enjoys a low period. But at the same time, that's where you're probably going to learn the most.
Exactly. Well, that's a perfect setup for my next question because after going through that, how did you find balance between your personal life and work?
So I go to therapy every other week for this specifically. I'm an extremist. So like I mentioned earlier, if I start to get into something new, it's like my life. It's my hobby. It's all of it. Like I want to spend all day long figuring out how I can crack the code. And for me, my best way to situate balance is taking a vacation. So like I will have trips lined up probably once a quarter, and it doesn't even have to be a week trip. It could be a long weekend. And it's just a mental refresher. I totally disconnect from my phone. I leave it at the Airbnb or the hotel. I put it on Do Not Disturb, and I will not answer anybody. No one. And mentally for me, that is, I can't express how much that has helped me being able to disconnect. Because when I am in the office, I am in. My mindset is shifted to a totally different part of my brain.
Right.
So vacations,
Yeah.
taking trips.
I need to take some more vacations. Maybe that's the key to all of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So in your opinion, what are the most important qualities and skills of a leader to possess in order to thrive in today's environment?
I think as we move into the future, that one thing that can't be taken away from a leader and from anybody is your work ethic. So if you show up every day and you give as much as you possibly can, I'm not going to say 100% every day because sometimes you can't give 100%. But as long as you are giving what you are capable of giving, no one can take that away from you and your knowledge. Constantly learning as a leader on new tactics, new ways to grow, new ways to lead, whatever it is, continuous learning is the key. Empathy, like I mentioned earlier, for sure. And just being, it's, as a leader and as you grow, you can get caught up in all of the goodness and lose your humbleness. And I don't want to staying humble is a characteristic of a leader because there's times where you need to celebrate.
Right.
And I've learned growing up for me is I lacked celebrating a lot of accomplishments that I had growing up. I was a 3-time All-State in softball, and I didn't tell anybody that until like now. I was like, hell yeah, I was a 3-time All-State in softball. I was a freak. That was my prime, you know?
Yes.
But back then I was just, my dad's like, stay humble. Like, you're not done
Right.
yet kind of mindset, which I get. So being able to find that line of like, we're celebrating, like we did this as a team, like let's go. And then also being like, okay, this is also what we're supposed to be doing at the same time.
Right.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
But definitely continuously learning, empathy, and just keeping a positive culture and
Right.
work ethic.
So the most successful people are not always the smartest people in the room, but don't you think they're the most curious and
Maybe willing to take the risk.
right, determined? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then that is everything in business is taking the risk. Any
Right.
owner of a company is taking a huge risk every single day. Every day. Especially when they have a team of people. Huge risk. When I hired my first employee, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. She relies on me to live.
Yes.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
I'm
Yes.
26.
I
I'm like,
totally
I
get
don't,
it.
somebody relies on me to live. That's
Right.
scary.
Right.
Now it's a little bit easier. I can digest it. I've been doing it. So I guess we're doing something right.
Yes, you are. Obviously, you are. So, what are your favorite books and podcasts that you
Favorite
like,
book
enjoy? Yeah.
that probably lives rent free in the back of my mind subconsciously is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I've read it multiple times, and anybody that has started entrepreneurship or has thought about just like bettering their life and needs a new mindset, I recommend that book a million times.
Right.
My two favorite podcasts are Layla Hermosi, which is Build, and then Gary Vee. I have one on one shoulder. Every decision I make, they're talking to me. They're my little angels. But I'm basically like a sponge when I'm listening to them and just try to absorb as
Right.
much as possible. So probably half the things that I say in this podcast is probably actually them speaking to me.
Right.
And I'm just regurgitating it because everything they've said since I've listened, I just fully agree with.
Yes.
It's crazy. And it's like free knowledge.
I know.
Free
Isn't it
knowledge.
great?
It's wonderful.
What podcasts can do for us today.
Yes.
So yeah, you pay that's a lot of money that people would pay just to have that expert opinion.
Yeah.
But I've been listening to the Bill podcast too.
Yes.
It is very good.
She's badass.
She is badass.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all like her storylines, all of her experience that she's talked about in it too. It's so it's relatable. Anybody that's in business that's trying to scale and grow, everything is it's valuable. It's extremely valuable.
So as we're closing out, how do you want to be remembered as a business leader?
As a business leader, whether it's my team looking at me, I can start from that. My team looking at me, leading with empathy, having a work ethic. I know I've repeated this, but on my gravestone, if work ethic is not carved into that gravestone, I have not done my job.
Right.
But on the grand scheme of things is allowing creatives to have a home and have a community and putting Louisiana on the map for creativity and marketing and a little bit bigger than what Louisiana is known for, which Louisiana has great things that it's known for. But pulling a whole community together that's going to make a huge impact throughout the whole world and not just our community and just our state. So it's definitely oriented more towards the people that are around us that have found a home, found a community, found a place to make money and live off of and do something that they love every single day. I want to feed every single person's soul that comes into Next Level. And when they come into work, it's something that they love and people that they love for the whole rest of their lives.
Wow. Wow. So I've read the book. Have you read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek? You should read that because it sounds like that is your why. Because the most successful people have their why.
Have their why. And I will say, for like the first year of business, I was very unclear on what my why was. And I think it took me a little bit of experience of being in the industry to know what gaps I can fill for business owners and how I can help bring the most value to them as a marketing agency. But also, like, what is our purpose as a company? Because, okay, great, you're employed. Welcome to Next Level. But, like, here's our purpose. Like, here's why we show up every day. We're not here for me. We're here to make an impact. We're here to make a difference. We're here for Next Level. We're not here for Savannah. And I wanted to make sure that the team understood, like, we're here for the brand. We're here for the purpose. We're here for the impact. We're not here for me. I'm just the one that's crazy enough to take the risk and try to figure everything out as we move through. Because everyone in this building, we're all just learning. We're all just learning. We're always a student. And that's something that I love about our group of people. We're all learning. But yeah, the why was very hard for me to figure out in the beginning, but now that I have it solidified, all of my decisions that I make now, I can ask, is this in alignment with our why, within our end goal, within our values? And my decisions have become a little bit easier to make now that I have kind of like a guideline and a structure to follow once that was solidified.
That's powerful. Well, thank you, Savannah.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You shared so much wisdom. It's hard to believe that you're 26 years old. I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's, 66 years old. You've got a lot of wisdom, and a lot of people are going to learn a lot from today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's been awesome.
It's been great. You're welcome.
Until next time, my friends, remember, as we continue to strive for excellence in both our professional and personal lives, let's always aim to elevate ourselves and those around us. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth and empowerment, and keep reaching for new heights.